welcome back to our channel where we dive deep into the heart of the city every single day. Today is a fantastic day to unpack some truly explosive updates coming our way. We are incredibly thrilled to have you here as we explore the shocking twists, the heartbreaking turns, and the intense drama awaiting our favorite residents in the coming weeks. Sit back and enjoy. We are going to witness a monumental milestone in television history with the 16,000th episode of our beloved drama. And what better way to celebrate such an incredible achievement than with the highly anticipated release and return of Jason? As someone who has watched this show for decades, seeing Jason come back to town always sends shivers down my spine. He has been held captive, and that kind of profound trauma changes a man deeply, altering his very DNA. I remember all the times Jason has vanished into the night and returned wearing his signature leather jacket, but this time feels incredibly different. The weight of his captivity is heavy on his broad shoulders. The town has moved on in many ways, yet there is a massive, gaping void that only his presence can fill. Will he be welcomed back with open arms by everyone, or will his changed, hardened demeanor alienate the very people who have prayed for his safe return every single night? I truly believe this specific return will redefine his entire existence in the city, setting the stage for a completely new era. Speaking of redefining his existence, Jason is about to make a monumental decision that completely shatters the original storyline we are so intimately used to. He is actively choosing to leave the dangerous, blood-soaked underworld behind and focus entirely on his family. For as long as I can remember, stretching back through the decades, Jason has been the loyal enforcer, the silent muscle, the man who handles the absolute darkest deeds without a moment of hesitation. To see him willingly step away from that violent life is a profound evolution of his character that I never thought I would see. It shows a maturity and a deep weariness that only comes with age and immense, unrelenting suffering. I am absolutely thrilled to see this softer, more family-oriented side of him finally take center stage. However, as any longtime viewer knows, walking away from the mob is never a simple task. Will the darkness simply let him go, or will it violently pull him back in just when he thinks he has finally escaped its suffocating grasp? This incredible shift brings us to a massive point of contention that is going to shake the foundation of the city. Jason is deeply concerned about Sonny placing his absolute trust in Rick, and frankly, I am entirely on Jason's side in this bitter dispute. Rick has a long documented history of being a manipulative wild card, a man who operates entirely in the shadows with his own selfish, destructive agendas. Yet Sonny is stubbornly defending Rick, insisting with a straight face that Jason needs to just get along with him. Why in the world does Sonny have this massive, inexplicable blind spot when it comes to Rick? It is incredibly frustrating to watch Sonny completely dismiss the valid, logical concerns of his most loyal, trusted friend. I foresee a massive, heartbreaking fracture in their legendary brotherhood over this very issue. Sonny is demanding blind obedience, but Jason is no longer the blind soldier willing to follow orders without question. This intense clash of strong wills is going to be spectacular to watch, and I cannot wait to see who ultimately turns out to be right about the true nature of Rick. Meanwhile, the sterile hospital corridors are going to be burning up with unprecedented tension and undeniable chemistry. The milestone episode also introduces a brilliant, highly promising, and incredibly arrogant new surgeon named Tristan. Right out of the gate, Britt is going to have a fiercely tense, combative encounter with him. Britt is a woman of fire and ice, fiercely protective of her professional territory, and she absolutely does not suffer fools gladly. Tristan clearly has the massive ego to match his exceptional surgical skills, making them instant, bitter enemies from the moment they lock eyes. As a longtime viewer who appreciates the classics, I recognize this setup immediately. The line between passionate hatred and passionate romance is incredibly thin. I have a very strong feeling that the writers are setting up an epic, slow burn, enemies to lovers storyline Will their fiery, screaming clashes in the boardroom and the operating room eventually lead to a steamy, unstoppable romance? I am certainly rooting for it, as the hospital desperately needs some fresh romantic fire. The power dynamics at the hospital are also shifting dramatically, and it is going to cause an absolute earthquake. It appears Willow is going to secure a highly coveted, powerful seat on the hospital's board of directors. This shocking development absolutely infuriates Tracy to her very core. Let me tell you, an angry, vengeful Tracy is one of the most entertaining forces of nature on daytime television. Tracy represents the old guard, the deeply entrenched legacy of power, wealth, and ruthless business tactics. Willow, on the other hand, has always been perceived as gentler, more compassionate, and entirely focused on patient care. Seeing Willow step into a position of immense, cutthroat authority and directly challenge Tracy's long-standing dominance is a fantastic, unexpected twist. Will Willow be able to withstand the brutal, unrelenting corporate warfare that Tracy is bound to unleash upon her? I personally think Willow has a hidden spine of pure steel, and Tracy might just underestimate her to her own devastating detriment. However, Willow's newfound power and influence might be taking her down a very dark and terrifying path that none of us anticipated. Kai is starting to realize that Drew is making a miraculous, steady recovery and is slowly regaining his mobility. But instead of feeling joy and relief, Kai is consumed by a chilling, paralyzing fear. He deeply suspects that Willow might actually try to silence Drew permanently to protect her own hidden secrets and her shiny new board position. This is an absolutely mind-blowing, dark departure from the sweet, innocent woman we first met all those years ago. Could Willow truly be capable of such ruthless, cold-blooded violence? Has the intoxicating taste of power and the desperation to maintain it completely corrupted her soul? The sheer suspense of watching Drew slowly, painfully recover while completely unaware of the massive target painted on his back is going to be agonizing. Kai is going to have to race against the clock to protect Drew from a lethal threat they never saw coming. On the other side of town, my heart absolutely breaks into a million pieces for Anna. She is secretly suffering from horrific, vivid hallucinations of Peter. Peter was a monster who caused unimaginable pain. And even in his physical absence, his lingering evil presence is destroying Anna from the inside out. She is hiding this agonizing psychological torture from everyone she loves, bearing the crushing weight of her crumbling sanity entirely alone in the dark. These terrifying, relentless visions are pushing her down a dark, agonizing path of total destruction and bitter revenge. But who exactly is she trying to destroy? Is she lashing out at the innocent world around her, or is she slowly, methodically destroying herself? Anna has always been the strongest, most resilient woman, a brilliant spy who could handle any international crisis with grace. Seeing her reduced to this fragile state of mental anguish is incredibly difficult to watch, but it undeniably makes for phenomenal, gripping television that you simply cannot look away from. Thank goodness for Valentin in these dark times. He is a man who notices absolutely everything, and he is beginning to harbor deep, unsettling suspicions that something is terribly wrong with Anna. Valentin loves her with a complexity, a devotion, and a depth that is incredibly rare to see. He can read her every micro-expression and sense when her heart is racing with fear. Will he be the one to finally uncover the devastating truth about her terrifying hallucinations? If he discovers that the sinister ghost of Peter is haunting her fragile mind, what extreme lengths will he go to in order to save her? Valentin has always operated seamlessly in the gray areas of morality, and I have absolutely no doubt he would gladly burn the entire city to the ground to protect the woman he loves. I am eagerly anticipating the powerful moment he finally confronts her, desperately hoping that his unwavering love can be the strong anchor that pulls her back from the terrifying edge of total madness. Amidst all the heavy drama, bitter betrayal, and psychological torment, we are getting a wonderful, much-needed ray of bright sunshine with Trina and Gio. Following their spectacular, show-stopping joint musical performance, the talented young duo is going to receive several exciting, lucrative offers for new music projects. As a longtime fan who has watched these kids grow, it brings me immense, genuine joy to see the younger generation passionately pursuing the arts and finding real, tangible success. Trina has faced so much extreme adversity, danger, and heartbreak in her young life, she more than deserves this beautiful moment in the bright spotlight. Her creative partnership with Gio is fresh, vibrant, and full of wonderful, positive energy. I am so incredibly excited to see exactly where their musical journey takes them and how this newfound fame and success will shape their bright futures. It is the absolute perfect, uplifting palette cleanser to perfectly balance out the darker, heavier lines dominating the rest of the canvas. You can always count on Carly and Sunny to provide explosive, highly entertaining fireworks. Carly is fiercely and loudly demanding that Sunny completely back off and let her make her own independent choices regarding her romantic life. Carly is a powerhouse, a fiercely independent woman who absolutely refuses to be controlled, dictated to, or managed by any man, especially her stubborn ex. But Sunny, being the incredibly stubborn, fiercely possessive man he always has been, absolutely refuses to listen to reason. In a move that is both darkly hilarious and deeply concerning, Sunny is going to enlist the professional help of Brick to actively, sneakily sabotage the budding, delicate romance between Carly and Valentine. Using a high-level security expert like Brick for petty, jealous, romantic espionage is classic vintage Sunny. When Carly inevitably discovers that Sunny and Brick are secretly meddling in her private life, her fiery rage will be absolutely nuclear, and no one will be safe from her wrath. Looking ahead to the rest of the thrilling month of July, the rich canvas of our favorite city is expanding beautifully with the highly anticipated arrival of adult Scout and Serena. It is always a profoundly bittersweet, nostalgic feeling to see the beloved children of legacy characters grow up and boldly step into the messy, complicated adult drama. They carry the heavy historical weight of their famous families, and I simply cannot wait to see exactly what kind of fresh trouble and exciting energy they bring to town. Speaking of serious trouble, young Rocco is finding himself in incredibly hot, dangerous water. He is going to face severe, life-altering consequences for his direct role in the shocking, violent shooting of Ross. Rocco is just a young boy, tragically thrust into a dark world of adult violence and severe, unforgiving legal repercussions. How will his fiercely protective family shield him from the devastating fallout of this terrible event? The massive ripple effects of this single, echoing gunshot will undoubtedly test the strong bonds of his family to their absolute breaking limits.